the current roster of WWE superstars, is there anyone on that roster that you would think would actually have a proper good go in MMA as well? Because we have seen guys like Batista come over, Brock obviously, CM Punk obviously, Alberto Del Rio got head kicked by Crowcock back in the day.
Yeah. Bobby Lashley did some
Bobby
MMA
Lashley
stuff,
did
I
all
think.
right. Yeah, he did all right.
Yeah.
And Bobby fought a lot in Bellator, didn't he? And he was a part of American Top Team. He had his whole stint in TNA with Colby Covington and Dan
That's
Lambert,
right, yeah.
all of that sort of stuff. Yeah. But is there anyone that, because from what I can tell nowadays, it seems like the WWE space is not just hiring, tough guys from the independent scene. They're just cultivating their own stars at the Performance Center, right? They're getting athletes and cheerleaders and whoever it might be.
They've got a whole program called NIL. I can't remember what it stands for now. Right. Is it NIL? It's something like that, but it's literally going around colleges and saying, hey, when you're done, why don't you come work for the WWE? Yeah. So they're really going heavy on the athletes. I mean, there's probably people down in NXT that I'm not overly familiar with that do have that sort of potential. But in terms of main roster guys, again, I don't know what other disciplines he's trained in, but Chad Gable is, in terms of wrestling, is a monster. Yeah. Like, he is an absolute monster. Now, obviously, he's working when he does this, but I've even seen him go toe-to-toe with Gunther, and the amount of wrestling sort of maneuvers that he works in, the dude is so fast. And again, he's got college credentials as well. Pretty sure he won a bunch of tournaments. I don't know if he was ever an NCAA champion, but I'm pretty sure he's of that ilk. Do you know what I mean? He's top draw. So if he is doing other stuff, yeah, he would absolutely be. I mean, the dude is lightning, man. He's got crazy strength too.
Because that's the thing that, one of the big speculations when the TKO, enterprise began was like, will we see crossover stars? And you went on Twitter, you had, Conor McGregor was chatting to Paul Heyman and Paul Heyman was chatting back to Conor McGregor. And I think it would be, if that was to ever happen, it would be a lot better for the MMA stars to come and sort of practice at like NXT. Because I mean, it is mad the amount of people that we have seen go to WWE to at a high level as well. I mean, Ronda obviously made a way over there. You had Shayna Baszler go over there, and
still going as well. Yeah,
yeah. Who's the four horsewomen of MMA?
Oh yeah, Marina Shafir.
Yeah, exactly. And
who was the fourth one? I can't remember the fourth one.
And also you have Matt Riddle as well.
Yeah, it got released like a couple of months ago. So.
And you do wonder whether or not like this is a really good opportunity for guys who are coming to the end of their MMA careers to then go into that program as well and start training in NXT and, bringing that kind of like legitimate style. And I feel like from the things that I've watched Matt Riddle do, it looked like he transitioned to real fighting, to entertainment really, really well. Like was able to throw, kicks and stomps and all, kind of just was really kind of flexible and versatile in pro wrestling because he'd had that experience. And of course, when you watch Rousey's WrestleMania fight with Triple H and stuff, and she backs him off into the corner.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Slapping her. It's, I think if there's a really good thing about the merge for the fighters is that there is a really good opportunity for them to lean more into the entertainment world. Because you do see lots of fighters that even go into movies as well.
Yeah. Well, they just announced their first buy a ticket for UFC on a Saturday, and then you can also a combo ticket for basically, I don't know when it is, but there's UFC on a Saturday and there's a Raw on a Monday, and they're sort of in close vicinity to each other.
Yeah.
And you can just buy a combo ticket, go to the UFC pay-per-view on a Saturday, and then go to Raw on Monday. So I'm convinced that eventually you're probably going to get SmackDown on a Friday, UFC on a Saturday, a pay-per-view WWE on a Sunday, Raw on a Monday, and that will be your mega thing you can go and do for the weekend. And
yeah, and then ultimately you can always send Bart Gunn to come and fight in the cage as well.
Poor Bart Gunn. Poor Bart. What did he do? He won a shoot real tournament and he got punished for it. Poor Bart Gunn.
That is probably the worst knockout, well, one of the worst knockouts in the history of boxing.
But it's like putting me in there with a boxer. Like, look, don't get me wrong, Bart Gunn, tough guy, boxing training. But again, you can't take that kind of step up in like 6 weeks or whatever it was. I can't believe that would never be allowed these days.
Yeah.
It would never be allowed. We're going to put him in there. Oh, but he's a carny boxer. Yeah, but he's still a licensed, trained boxer.
Yeah.
I don't care that his name's Butterbean. Like, I know, yeah. Oh, my God. He could have killed him.
How was that commissioned? Or was it commissioned? Was there?
How was the Brawl for All commissioned?
Yeah.
Is a real life? Oh, is that what you mean? Not the bar gunfight?
Well, no, that and then all the Brawl for All. How did they have an athletic commission that came in and had?
I don't think so.
So they were just Vince McMahon was just like, do you know what? And what's the other guy? Vince Russo. They were like, do you know what? We should, because I know the story of that was that they were supposed to build up. Was it Dr. Death?
That's right. I'm looking it up right now. Brawl for All Athletic Commission. But yeah, it was Dr. Death, yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to build Dr. Death as this like legitimate threat to build him up to be one of the world champions. And they thought the smartest fucking thing that they could do, instead of just book him to be a Brock Lesnar or a Goldberg, they were like, let's actually put a fight on here.
I don't think it was. I can't. I mean, again,
but
I'm
that
just
was at
Google,
the pinnacle of the Attitude Era, was it not? So they
in
were
1998.
They were already fucking white hot in 1998, right? So why in the fuck were they doing that?
Madness. That's why. Madness and not the thing that annoys me about it the most is, let's introduce Brad to the conversation. Love Brad. Never watched wrestling in his life. You explain wrestling to him. He's been watching it a couple of weeks. Then he sees the Brawl for All, and Brad has to come back and go, wait a minute, what? You have to tell him, all right, what they're essentially telling you is everything else you're going to see isn't real, but this is real. Yeah. That's what they were telling you. They were actively telling you all the other stuff we planned, but this is the real, is the worst, honestly, worst idea ever. Poor guys were pulling hamstrings and getting beaten up all over the place because because obviously it all happened on television, and then they're working house show loops where they're taking bumps and whatnot. It's just, and they had to pay them, I think they did pay them more money.
Right.
Because Brackus was in it. Nobody remembers Brackus. But they went, Brackus, can you be in the tournament? Brackus went, no, and then we'll give you 50 grand. All right, well, fine, I'll do it then.
Yeah.
But yeah, genuinely, and again, you'd never get away with it today in a million years, but also just bad. I don't watch wrestling for that.
Yeah. What happened to Steve Blackman, and what's his actual credentials? Because I remember playing him in the original, WWF games on the PS1 and stuff like that. But I do remember, like, Blackman was like this karate guy. Like, what was his background? Like, did he? So,
he's definitely trained.
Yeah.
But this is the coolest thing about Steve Blackman, right? Steve Blackman almost died.
Okay.
Yeah?
Shit. What, in the Brawl for All?
Yeah, he got some. It's like, again, I'm vaguely remembering him. People are going to be screaming at the whatever. But he got some kind of virus, or he was poisoned, or something like that. And he essentially came back from the dead. And when he came back from the dead, he just came back as the biggest badass you've ever seen in your life. Now, I don't know what he was trained in, but I do know there's an amazing story. Everyone has corroborated this as well, so it definitely happened, where JBL, Bradshaw, is just ribbing him, he's winding him up. And Steve Blackman is like, if you do that to me one more time, I'm going to kill you. So obviously Jay was like, no, you're not. Keeps doing it. Steve Blackman just flipping erupts on him and just tries to kill him. To the point, it got so bad, Steve Blackman made JBL, notorious over-the-top bully JBL, and apologized to the whole locker room because he didn't want Steve Blackman to tear him limb from limb. Wow. So either he's just an incredibly intimidating guy, or he must have done something to get this idea across. But no, I think Steve Blackman may have been a bit of a... I think Steve Blackman would probably be the UFC champion.
Do you remember when he debuted in the WWF? Like, what was his rise? How did they package him up? They were like, he's this fucking dangerous... Lethal Weapon, yeah. Because you had Ken Shamrock around the same sort of time, who was, actually coming from a really established portfolio of fighting legacy in Pancrase and what he'd done in the UFC at that point. And he was legitimately one of the world's dangerous men at that point. I mean, whatever you want to say about that,
Well, Dan Severn as well, right?
Yeah, again, exactly. So it's interesting during that period of time that the WWF were looking towards those guys and being like, yeah, we can bring them in. And I have no recollection of Dan Severn in the WWF. I remember, that iconic picture where he's got the UFC title and then the NWA title around his shoulders. But in terms of like the storylines and but I just remember all those guys at the same time: Steve Blackman, Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn. But Steve Blackman always stood out to me, just like, who the fuck is this guy? Is he?
I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah, is he someone that we should be looking at, like, in the same sort of realms of the Ken Shamrocks and the Dan Severins, or is he just some guy that ended up looking like he should be in a UFC cage?
I need to know now. I used to know this. I've done so many videos of Steve Blackman, but I can't remember. So it's just a wiki thing, right? So who knows?
He's just an American karate teacher or what?
Yeah, he's a martial art. He is a martial arts instructor.
Oh, he is. Okay.
He's a bail bondsman, which I guess is someone that goes around trying to get money.
Yeah.
Right. And he started early career. I can see bodybuilder. I can see weightlifter. Yep. Then he trained in pro wrestling. And yeah, he just made his way up, went through the Japanese, or at least through some Japanese wrestlers. I don't know whether he went out to Japan or not. And then come 1998, he debuts in, I don't know. Again, he's got an MMA record, but that was from 2003.
Oh, he does have an MMA record.
I don't know now. No, he's had. No, I don't think he does.
I'm gonna have to find this. Career. It was probably something like UWF or something like that.
No, he doesn't. It's just Wikipedia getting things wrong. It says martial arts career, but his martial arts career is he opened a self-defense school in 2003. That's it. I don't think that he actually ever had a fight. No, it doesn't. It's a real interesting. I know he does have a professional record. Oh, that's from the Brawl for All. That doesn't count as a professional record,
Mental.
Stupid Wikipedia.
I mean, if WWF did one thing really well, it was market Steve Blackman as a guy that everyone should actually be scared of. So
I think he had a side to him. I really, really do. That maybe it wasn't you can, beat the hell out of me using these skills that you've learned. It's more that guy's unhinged, and if we annoy him, he'll be so aggressive, it doesn't matter what we know, he's just going to rip us limb from limb. But I don't know, dude. Again, even his Wikipedia entry, oddly lack of details.
Scary. That's what that is.
Scaring.
Where is he now? That's what I want to know.
Just being a ghost. Probably just hanging out.
Teaming with Dog the Bounty Hunter in Hawaii or something like that.
Exactly. I think isn't Dog the Bounty Hunter dead?
Is he? Fuck, I don't know.
Oh man, I got to check this out now. I can't kill someone.
Not Dog the Bounty Hunter.
I'm pretty sure.
What were you going to...
No, he's still alive.
Okay,
he's still alive.
I was going to say, what are we going to do with all those criminals that jaywalked, over the years?
That's true. Hang on.
Who's after the jaywalkers, Simon, if Dog's dead?
No, he's still alive. He's 71 years old. His birthday was today. Oh, wow. How weird is that?
That is weird.
Is today. Happy birthday to Dog the Bounty Hunter. Amazing.
Oh my God.
Love it.
That must be some sort of subconscious. I knew that deep down. I knew.
Maybe I saw it on Twitter or something earlier as well. Happy birthday, DOG. And I was like, oh man, it's the big bounty hunter.